All right, today we're going to talk about systems of equations and the substitution method. The substitution method is going to be a way to help us solve systems of equations. It's going to be the second of three methods that we use to solve systems of equations. So we already learned about how you can graph the two equations and see where they intersect. But now we're going to find out another way to solve a system of equations. And remember, to solve a system of equations means to take the two equations and figure out what x and y both equal for both equations. Now, we're going to talk about that in just a second, but I got some more friends that I got to tell you about. You ready? All right. This is Miles and this is Bison. And if you put their ages together, it adds up to 27. So if x is Miles's age and y is Bison's age, x plus y equals 27. Now, we don't know who is what age unless I tell you some more information like this. Bison's age is one more than Miles's age. So Bison is 1 year older than Miles. Now we have a system of equations, and now we can solve that systems of equations to find each one of their ages. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use what's called the substitution method. And the substitution method works like this. If I know that y equals 1 plus x, couldn't I take this y right here and plug 1 plus x in for that y? If that's what y equals, then yeah, that should work. So I'm going to just take this 1 plus x and I'm going to substitute it in for y. Because if that's what y equals, then I'm allowed to do that. So watch what's going to happen when I put a 1 plus x in here for y. Now I'm going to have x plus 1 plus x equals 27. Take a minute, make sure you understand where that came from. This 1 plus x right here came from this 1 plus x over here because that's what y equals. And there was a y there, so I just turned it into a 1 plus x. Now what I'm just going to do is simplify this equation. If you have an x plus another x, isn't that really like 2x plus 1 equals 27? Yeah, and then you can keep on solving this. You take away 1 from both sides, cancel that out. 2x equals 26. And now you divide by 2, divide by 2. All of a sudden, I know what Miles' age is. Miles' age is 26 divided by 2, 13. Now I'm almost done solving it. I figured out what x equals. I need to figure out what y equals for Bison's age. But I already know what y equals. Y equals 1 plus x. And if x is 13, right, then I can plug a 13 in here and say that y is 1 plus 13. And so now I know that Bison's age is 14 because it's 1 more than 13. And now I've solved my whole system of equations because I know what x equals and I know what y equals. And I did it using the substitution method. All right. Let's talk about another problem. The sum of two numbers is 40 and their difference is 4. Find what the two numbers are. Well, if the sum of two numbers is 40, that means they add up to 40. So I'm just going to use x and y and say x plus y equals 40. The difference between those numbers means you're subtracting. So x minus y equals 4. Now I'm going to have to find the two numbers. And if I want to use the substitution method on this equation, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this equation here, okay? I'm going to have to take this equation here, and I'm going to have to figure out what x equals. In other words, I'm going to have to take this y away from the left side, and I'm going to have to take it away from the right side, so that now I have x equals just x, 40 minus y. Hopefully that makes sense. I think you can see that. Now I'm going to take 40 minus y And since x equals 40 minus y, I'm going to put 40 minus y right here where the x is. And then there's still the minus y here, and there's still an equals 4 there. So now what I've got is 40 minus y equals 4. Well, what is minus y minus y? Well, that's like a negative 1y and another negative 1y. Isn't that like a negative 2y? So now I have 40 minus 2y equals 4, and now you just have to solve this equation. So I'm going to take away 40 from both sides, take away 40 from both sides. I'm going to have negative 2y equals 4 minus 40. Sorry, this is a little sloppy, but I think you can follow along. And then I'm going to have to divide both sides by negative 2 so that I just have y by itself equals, oh, I got to divide this by negative 2. Negative divided by negative is positive. Y equals 18. Now, did I solve the whole equation? No, because I'm supposed to find both numbers. I found what y is. Now I've got to figure out what does x equal. Well, how do I know what x equals? X plus y equals 40, right? So, if y is 18, I could say x plus 18 equals 40 instead of x plus y equals 40, and now that's a pretty easy equation to solve. I'm just going to get x equals, what is it? 22. Yep. And now I've solved my whole system of equations because I know what x equals and I know what y equals. That's the substitution method. And to just recap, what you're doing is you are taking this x and plugging it in for this x, or taking this y and plugging it in for this y, or somehow rearranging the equations so that you can substitute one thing into another so that you can solve for x or solve for y. Okay, here, your turn. X plus y equals 66, but x minus y equals 34. What are x and y going to equal? Try it and see what you come up with. All right, and we'll talk about this some more in class tomorrow. That's all I got. Adios.